I'm Todd Bookspan, and welcome to your neighborhood real estate show. The hyperlocal real estate show where real estate professionals talk about the neighborhood you live in or the neighborhood you want to live in. This episode is brought to you by homebuyeruniversity.net. Your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to homebuyeruniversity.net to get started online today. Hey everyone, I'm Todd Bookspan and welcome to another episode of Your Neighborhood Real Estate Show. And I am super excited for today's show because I've got someone who I consider a friend and inspires me in everything she does. Welcome, Kimberly Tocco.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very honored and funny because one of the first podcasts I ever did was your old one.
I know.
Many years ago.
Back in the day, and I've been on your podcast
Yes.
and all of that. So we'll make sure we talk about all the things that you're doing because I just know that when people listen, they're going to want to check all the other things out that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to spend part of our time talking about real estate because this is a real estate show, but then we're going to talk about all the other cool stuff that you do. I think that really helps people who I think are always looking for it and don't really know where to get the inspiration and the mind shift.
Well, and also to understand that, we're all just ordinary people trying to achieve extraordinary things. And I love that I can be an example of that. And coming from absolutely nothing to be able to achieve the things I have, success is how many people you can help.
Yeah, I love it.
Not just the money you make.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like once people make it all about the money, then you can call that success, and a lot of people do, but to me, that doesn't make someone successful.
If it's all about the money, you are on the wrong side.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's what I believe.
Well, and I know you're really strong in your beliefs, and that's one of the things that I admire about you the most. And so when, we talk real estate, I mean, just kind of talk about your journey. How did you get into real estate?
So this part of the story is the ugly part of the story, right? 12 years ago, my 13-year-old son walked upstairs and shot himself, and he died in my arms. And the aftermath that follows something like that is crushing. It's debilitating. And I wanted so much to be able to share his story, to be able to say, hey, because my son showed no signs. He was 6'1". He could pitch at 80 miles an hour, straight A student, most popular kid in school. And one morning, it just, over an argument, that was it, I needed to tell his story because it's not just mental illness that causes us to reach that very, very dark place. But what I found out in the 2 years that followed is you have to become successful in order for people to hear your story because you yourself have to be able to overcome that situation. I couldn't be a sad little mother sitting in the corner and say, hey, listen to my story. People would listen, but there was nothing to give them the drive to say, look what she's been through and look how she got through it. So 2 years after that happened with my son, my husband had to carry us, myself and 3 other children. I just couldn't bring myself to hold a 9-to-5. Mentally, I wasn't there. Our youngest son had special needs. My oldest son had special needs. And I was listening to a radio show that said, we have extenuating circumstance loans. This is where it's really important that you know your products, that you know who you work with. What is an extenuating circumstance loan? Well, at that time, we'd had a short sale and we'd filed a bankruptcy after losing my son. No one was going to give us a loan. But the circumstances behind the reasons why we had to do it were extreme situations. So I contacted that lender on my own, and for 2 months we worked about 1,000 emails, paperwork after paperwork after paperwork. And by March of 2013, she called me and said, we have conditional approval. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is going to change our life. To get out of the shitty rentals, excuse the French, that we were in, to give me something other than just drinking glasses of wine and taking my kids to schools and therapies, to give my husband a woman that was willing to choose life again, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't find a real estate agent to help me, and I'll tell you why. Every friend and every real estate agent we called all said, I've never seen an extenuating circumstance loan close. I don't want to go through this whole process with you, and 5 days before closing, you're not going to get that house. That's going to crush you even more. So I decided to get through real estate school myself. I needed the commission anyway. I needed it for the down payment. I scraped together our tax return money in a change jar, got through school in 18 days. And by March 31st of 2013, I had my real estate license. And by June 1st, we closed on a house. But that's what changed me. We walked inside that house and my little twins were running around in the sunshine in that front room, and my oldest boy was choosing out his room. And when I handed those keys to my husband, the look on his face, he had a foundation again. He had his feet again. As a man providing for his family, he could breathe just a little bit. And there was a tiny little bubble of joy from that.
Yeah, it gives me shivers.
I could feel joy again, regardless of the pain and the grief and the sorrow. I realized I could feel joy again by doing this for families. So that was my focus. I started borrowing clothes. I found out what brokerage to be with. I continued to work with that particular lender, and I helped families who had been through hardships overcome by providing either sales or getting into a home, because that's what it takes. We do need money to change our lives. We do need fresh, rejuvenated energy to change the trajectory of our life. And since that time, in the last decade, I've given back over $250,000 of my own commission in contributions back towards families to help them with their closing costs, and changed a lot of lives. So that has been my focus, and that's what's given me joy.
All right. So if you're listening, that hasn't impacted you, I don't know what would. I don't know what would. But I just love it, because I always feel like when someone's super passionate about what they do, then it's just a different commitment, a different experience. And the fact that you care so much about people, not just with helping them through the process, but then the financial part that you said, that's just not normal. I mean, if someone's listening to this and think that's normal, then I don't know where they've been.
You know, there's this thing that, people start looking at, they want to buy a home and they're like, well, we have enough for a down payment. That won't leave me very much in my bank. I just can't do it. I have helped families who, they only had $500 in their bank after closing, and after I contributed $500 for groceries or whatever, but they had a house.
Their own, right?
They weren't paying someone else's mortgage by renting anymore. They were safe. No one was going to take that home from them. Sometimes you have to step out of your fear and really, really realize that investing in yourself, investing in your family, investing in a home is what you need to breathe, again, that new life and change the trajectory of your life and provide a legacy for your children.
Yeah, I think a lot of people take it for granted. And I'm always embarrassed to say that I felt like I did, because I, bought a home early with, help of my parents. And and it, turned out to be a great trajectory into investing, and a great example and a great education for me. But when I heard a friend of mine tell a story about the loan officer, when her and her mom, single mom, were living in an apartment, and they were on the, had to climb up the stairs. There was no elevator. And the fact that this man in the bank that, she knew his name, still, that believed enough in them to help them figure out how to get in the house, so that she had a house of her own, that she could paint the walls the color she wanted, that they could get a dog to run around the backyard, and how that changed her life. And that's why she got in the mortgage business. Just gave me a whole different perspective. And so the fact that, you've got such a unique background, and that you've turned it into something that's so positive, and you take a different approach to real estate than the average real estate agent.
Absolutely. It is about the energy, right? I don't look at families as a number. I look at each and every one of them, and I put myself in their shoes. And I say, what does this family need? What type of loan officer does this family need? Because I could not have closed on that home if it wasn't for that one woman who worked with me.
Yeah, I fought for you. Believed in you.
1,000 emails over 2 months, and believed in me and figured out a way. That is key in this business. If you want people to call you, if you want repeat business, they really aren't going to care what you said or what you did. They're going to remember how you made them feel. Feeling is an energy. How bad do you want it for that family? Do you want it for that family, or do you want it for your commission? Because if you're working for your commission, you're not doing justice for that family, period.
In the wrong business then.
Yes.
Go get a different job.
We started off, if it's all about the money, you're on the wrong side. You really have to care about what you're doing. And, this is why I talk a lot about metaphysics and energy and why in this real estate business, especially in this economy that is very volatile right now, you have to put your heart in this. You have to really intend for that family to prosper, not yourself, not yourself. Gratitude and serving is the basis of what God has done for us. Reciprocity. They're not a number. They're humans. They're looking to you to help them. Take that seriously.
Well, I know you well enough to know that that's genuinely who you are. So someone who's listening to this and doesn't know you, I mean, how would they feel that different experience when, outside of the things you've already laid out, as they're going through the real estate process with you?
The second anyone contacts me, the first thing I say is, I want you to know I'm working for you, not the other way around. I am here to take the stress out of this situation, to make it a wonderful, enjoyable environment for you, because this should be one of the most exciting things that you are ever going to transact in your life. That's the first thing I say to them. You can fire me at any time. If you're not comfortable with me, let me know, and vice versa. This is a joint venture where my passion to help you needs to match your own passion for me to be able to help you. Together, we can manifest and make it happen. I've done it over and over and over again. And when you match the right people to the right agent, to the right lender, you can break records too. I just had a client that closed Tuesday with $35,000 instant equity.
That's awesome.
It appraised at $35,000 over what she was asking, but we looked for a year through this strange economy that's happening.
Yeah.
But I kept saying, it's okay. It'll happen. It'll happen. This isn't about, again, my commission. This is about the right time, the right place, the right endeavor, the right deal for you.
Right, a year. Most people, most real estate agents, if the client's not ready to buy this month, they don't really have the patience for that.
Right. And it isn't, none of this is about that. This is really serving your client. So if that isn't helping you choose me, then I'm not the right girl for you.
I love that you call it a strange economy, because I don't feel like people these are crazy. And I don't like the word crazy. I don't feel that that's appropriate. I feel it's so different. And so I think strange, that catches me, because I think it's, people just don't understand what's going on today. And I love that, that term.
It's stranger things, man. Stranger things. You can't have a pandemic and expect everything just to pop right back and be like, just like it was, right? It's the ebbs and flows of everything. There's always a high, there's always a low. This is just how life works. Yeah. There's never going to be just, it's steady and great and it's going to stay like this forever. No, you have to fortify yourself. There's going to be fantastic highs and there's still going to be really low lows. It's just like the waves of the ocean. That you can't expect just to have a glass of water. So we evolve, we adjust, we look at what's happening and we accept what's happening and adjust ourselves to benefit from it as best we can.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. What else? I want to get to the other stuff that you do, but is there anything else on real estate you want to make sure that we talk about before I move past it?
I feel like, again, like you said, people are like, we're crashing, and there's changes happening. There's definitely changes happening. But if you want a house for your family, don't let that stop you. The right agent, the right lender can find the solutions for you. It could be next week, it could be next month, it could be next year, but do not give up. And that's the one thing I say about metaphysical real estate is, again, together. How much do you want it? Do you really want to make this happen? Then I'm going to make it happen for you. And so is the lender. That's what we have to focus on. Shut out the outside world, look at your situation, and let's find a way to make it happen. Yeah, period.
I love that. I mean, I feel like there's just so much negativity out there, right? It's the minute you turn off the news and the TV and you actually just focus on the other things in life, it's amazing what can happen.
Nothing's going to stop me. There's a reason why they call me Tenacious T.
Yep.
Don't let fear stop you. Yeah. Period.
I think that's it, right? Fear is, it frustrates me when I hear people that are fearful. And, I don't have the skills and talents that you have to get people out of fear. But I always do my best. And I know for you, you talked when we first met about the book you were going to write, and then you wrote the book. And so let's talk about that for a minute.
So I had to reach a level of success, right? And this is a great trajectory into how I made it happen. No one, again, was going to listen to the sad little mother in the corner. So again, closed on that house June 1st. And I was like, okay, I'm good at this. I'm going to become successful. Each year I focused, doubled my sales, doubled my contacts, getting into the room with the right people, changed brokerages a lot. And here, I know we all want to be loyal to our brokerages, but a broker is tools for you. And that energy has to be good. The reciprocity has to be there. You can be there so long, but if something starts to change and you're not feeling so great about it, then change that. It's a season of your life, right? So by 2018, I had my first 6-figure month. In March of 2018, I closed on 11 homes and made $100,000. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. Okay, I'm going to focus. I need to get on HGTV. I kept picturing myself getting on HGTV. I wanted to get on HGTV. And 4 months later, lo and behold, I got a call about an inaugural episode called Pool Hunters being filmed in Arizona. Could I do it? You bet your ass I could do it. And I had just closed on a home with doctors that was over $1 million. It was perfect. The family was perfect. The situation was perfect. I got on that show. I got on that show because I wanted it that bad. I got on that show because that's how bad I needed to tell the story of my son and how I got through it. By 2019, I'm like, okay, I need a podcast. I didn't know how to do a podcast. And I wanted it to be, a really nice one. I wanted it to film it like this, right? And I Googled, I YouTubed, I taught myself. And once I started that podcast, August of 2019, I heard the whisper, it's time, Mom. Sit down, write it. I had the whole book in my head. Yeah. I had the story of how I became successful. And that's what I did. I closed the door to my room for 2 weeks and I wrote it. Russell Shaw, thank you, Russell Shaw, sent me classical music to help me listen to it. And so I could just focus on the story. And the final entry in the book was November of 2019. I sent it off to Jeremy Jones Publishing. And March 11th, 2020, I launched it. And I launched it in exactly the vision that I had seen a year before. I took the stage, had 3 other people of stories of overcoming, told my own, and it was a celebration. Because that's how I see us being able to eradicate suicide, by sharing our stories. Right. I see the society as one big tree, right? And we're the leaves on that tree. And our stories are the breeze that helps the leaves dance. Even if they're the ugly, ugly story of a boy who walked upstairs and shot himself. People need to hear that. It's one thing to talk about your truth, but if you're not sharing the dark, dark parts of it, then how is someone really going to look at it and be like, I can't relate to that? Sharing that dark, dark moment where you yourself even wanted to take your life? Oh my God, I felt that too. I've been there too. She's not in that place anymore. How did she do it?
Yeah.
So it held number 1 for 2 weeks. COVID hit 3 days later.
COVID.
But that's okay. It was meant to happen,
Yep.
Right? It was meant to happen. At that point, I studied at Delphi Metaphysical University for 2 years, started working on book 2 because I still needed answers. I still needed to know, what is it in this world that causes people to face those moments?
And so I love the word overcome, and book 2 is Tenacious Angels.
Book 2 is Tenacious Angels. Book 1 is Overcome, Memoirs of a Suicide. I even recorded my own audio for the book, so it's available on Audible.
That's the best.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story right there. That was a process, but it's on Audible, Kindle, and soft cover. So
yeah, That's awesome. So make
Thank
sure you
you.
get it on Amazon,
Yes, please.
right? Or your favorite bookseller.
Yes.
I'm sure there's other places.
Yeah.
Everywhere has
Amazon is the big one. Yeah.
it. And so when's the new book coming out?
I am just finishing up the end of it. It takes a little bit to get through publishing. So June is my goal on that one, to have it out. Luckily, I'm also landing stages. So there's a little story behind that too.
Let's hear it.
That is my thing. That's what I've envisioned for myself. Even as a little girl, I could see myself talking to people. I didn't know what it was going to be about, right? We don't know how this is going to happen. And when I was envisioning my book launch, again, I realized that by telling stories, by having people in that audience being able to relate with you, how that can shift their mindset, even just for a moment, to have them feel something different than the blah that they're in their life. I focused on stages and I kept envisioning myself. And October, I got an email literally 5 days before auditions for a brand new show called The Great American Speak Off. So I think American Idol for speakers. Yeah, it was crazy. So we show up and you get 60 seconds to tell your story. It's like, what, excuse me?
Yeah, it's hard to tell in 60 minutes sometimes, let alone 60 seconds.
And if you made it through that round, you got 2 minutes. And they chose 30 and I made it. I got the golden ticket to attend the semifinals in Miami, December 14th. Out of 27,000 who registered, they auditioned 2,000. 150 made it to Miami. They chose the top 30. I didn't make the top 30.
They made a mistake.
Well, you got to remember too, this is a pilot episode, right?
Everything happens for the right reasons.
And it's hard to jump up and down after hearing a story about suicide.
Right.
It's empowering, helps you overcome. But, it's the first of his show. I'm going next year. I'm winning it next year.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. But the judges, Grant Cardone, Elena Cardone, Stormy Wellington, and Pete Vargas, I got to shake Stormy's hand. Stormy people. Wellington, if you don't know her, look her up. She has a huge movement. Girl, Hold My Hand. Women from all over the world, all different entrepreneurs. We meet every morning at 6 a.m. for a meditation with Stormy. 30 minutes of your time just to set our day, right? I got her attention. Her CEO put my book before her, and I just went to break the code with, there was 50 women, but 20 of us were the Diamond VIPs.
Yeah.
Got to hang out with Stormy Wellington for 4 days, and it's already changed my life.
Yeah.
I've booked, I'm going to be at the Ultimate Women's Expo speaking on March 4th. I'm going to be at the Arizona Women's Expo on the 29th of April speaking. And I could sit here and name names, but I've already been asked to be in the room with several big players, including Elena Cardone at the 10X Growth Con.
Yeah.
Going to be with Stormy again, going to be with Elena again. Getting in the room will change your life, but having the confidence that you have something to contribute to this world is really key.
Well, I think that's why you become a force of nature, right? Mm-hmm. You're hanging out with other folks who run as fast as you do and have the same heart that you have.
And the heart condition, right? We can say, oh, I want it. And there's, the saying, how bad do you want it? Do you want success more than you can breathe? And yes, I do. And it's not that. Think about the passion and love you have for your child. Think about the passion and love you have for your spouse. The desire to show them that love, that's a frequency. The one thing fear is afraid of is love. So gratitude, love, desire, passion, that has to go into what you want to happen in your life. It's not enough just to sit there and say you want it. It truly is channeling that energy and making it happen.
Yeah.
Just like I did HGTV, just like I did the book launch, just like it held number one, even when COVID hit for 2 weeks. I wanted it that bad. With all the love I had for my son, I wanted it that bad, and I made it happen.
Yep, you manifested the results you're after,
yes.
And here we are today talking about the success.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so what did I forget to talk about that you want to make sure we let everyone know about?
I do a lot of posting on my Tenacious Angels Instagram, daily inspirations, stories that will help you realize that, again, we're ordinary people trying to achieve extraordinary things, and you can. I have a Tenacious Thoughts podcast. I changed the name. It used to be that Bitchin' Real Estate Show. And, come see me, come feel me, come interview me. I guarantee you've never had a real estate experience like you will have with me. I guarantee that if you need guidance in your life, because I do offer those services too, not only will I be able to listen, but I'll be able to diagnose a core element within you that is blocking you from achieving what you truly want to achieve. This is what I have done with my life. This is how I educated myself. My purpose is to serve. My purpose is to eradicate those problems, those things that come in your way that stop you at not believing in yourself. It's all about self-love. You have to love thyself. Part of that is caring for yourself enough to stay fit. A fit body is a fit mind, and these are all the things I educate people on.
Well, I don't know if I can put a cherry on top of that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Let's make sure. So we said Tenacious Angels on Instagram,
Uh-huh.
tenaciousrealestate.com if they want to do the real estate part of it. But I think in the bottom line is that if someone's still listening to this, there's no doubt it resonated. Everyone should
Yes.
want to reach out and connect and support you. So I'm just
Thank
super
you.
excited that
Thank you.
had this time to shine a light on everything that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know why I had Kimberly on, you know now.
Yes. And they can just Google my name, Kimberly Tocco, and there's a ton of things that'll come up too.
Awesome.
So
Thanks so
you
much.
for
That was
having me
awesome.
on. That was fun.
It
Yay.
was. This episode is brought to you by homebuyeruniversity.net, your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to homebuyeruniversity.net to get started online today.